but it went to the older one.
Yeah, so I'll make sure it's any, updated and it goes out.
Yeah, nothing is streaming yet on CMAC.
I can see that right now here. And I don't think they,
Maybe it just comes on right at 6. I'm not sure how that works.
Do we have the minutes, the agenda for today?
You should have an
I have the
agenda
script. It's the same, isn't it?
Yes, the agenda script just has the extra talking information.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's fine. That's good.
they should be able to see the room, and they're not seeing the room, correct? Right.
Yeah, I don't see that it's
Yeah,
showing on CMAC.
yeah.
Now I'm
Is it-
looking at the,
I'm calling you guys right now, the CMAC people.
I was looking at the meeting link right now, and it has the PowerPoint up with the title of the meeting. Oh, wait.
You want me to join Zoom again?
Oh, and it,
Are they waiting for me to start the meeting?
the mics are on.
Mics are hot.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Now everybody knows what I do at home.
Okay. Hey, co-hosts, right? No. Okay. I don't, there, I see Brenda, Mark, and Jasmine, yes, we don't see, in our, if you look at the camera, you can see. Oh, yeah, you're already a panelist, yeah, I have two CMAC TVs, but, okay, hold on, let me. I'm hitting start video, but what I'm saying is there's nothing on our screen showing the video, showing the people in this room.
But if I'm not here, there will be no commission.
Do you see what I'm looking at?
No, it may. That will be better. Next month that will be better.
It just says CMAC TV.
Brandon, if we add another committee
Okay,
member, then
How do I?
one could be out.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
Are you guys working on that?
Well,
It's either the clerk's office and or the mayor's office, like our office, we don't recruit commissioners, but, it has to be, I believe it would have to be an
Yeah, I do.
at-large.
Do you want to make CMAC?
Gotta be owner.
No.
Mobile home representative.
Yeah.
But isn't it quorum if there's 3 at-large members?
Correct.
So I think there always has to be 3 at-large members.
There could be alternative.
At-large member position
Right.
in the,
I think that's what you'd have to have is alternate at-large in order
Yeah,
to
there's
still have a
there's
quorum. But
alternate
I could be wrong. I'm not reading it right now, but that was my recollection.
But you guys have to be
We
here.
have to be here.
You have to, I don't have to be
Right.
here.
they could fill
it now?
an alternate
Alternate.
at-large member, and
Yeah.
if the 3 of us are here,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be
Yeah.
on the commission, but if one of us was gone,
Yeah, they can
I
fill
see.
in.
they could be the alternate for that meeting.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody.
Well, let's go ahead and start this meeting at 6:02 p.m. at Mobile Home Park Rent Review Stabilization Commission. I'm going to have the clerk call roll call, please.
All right, Commissioner McCullough,
Present.
Commissioner Zuniga,
Present.
Vice Chair Wilbur,
Present.
Chair Moncada.
Present. Now, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, would the chair read the procedures for today, please?
This meeting is being conducted in person and electronically. The public may participate in the meeting by using the Zoom link provided on the agenda. Please note that all virtual participants will be on mute until they are called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted. If you are a member of the public and would like to comment on an item, use the raise hand function on Zoom. To avoid confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called by the chair before electronically raising your hand. Pursuant to Article 4, Section 14D of the Commission bylaws available in the City Clerk's office, governing length of public debate, all public testimony from those in support and in opposition of the rent increase application will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The 3 lights on the podium next to the microphone will indicate the amount of time remaining for the speaker. The green light will be turned on when the speaker begins. The yellow light will come on with a soft bell ring when 1 minute is remaining. The speaker should be completing the testimony by the time the red light comes on, with a final bell indicating time has expired. All public testimony must be presented to the commission at the podium. Any testimony that references race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, or any other classification protected under state or federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and will not be considered by the commission in making its determinations.
Thank you. We will start the meeting with the approval of the agenda. Does the staff have any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Very well. Do any of the commissioners have any changes to the agenda?
No.
Very well then, I ask for a motion to approve the agenda as written, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Would the secretary take the vote, please? Even though it carried already, but still, would you
Okay,
please?
that's fine. Roll call vote. Commissioner McCullough,
Aye.
Commissioner Zuniga,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur,
Aye.
and Chair Moncada.
Aye.
Motion passes
Thank you.
4-0.
General admission. Okay, we have item ID 24391, approval of the regular meetings of February 13. Do any of the commission have any changes to the preview, to the minutes from February 13, 2024? No? Very well then. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Would the secretary please take a vote?
Roll call vote. Commissioner McCullough,
Aye.
Commissioner Zuniga,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur,
Aye.
Chair Moncada.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Now we're going to item 5B, ID 24385, workshop review of annual rent increase application package. City staff ready to present?
Yes.
Please proceed.
All right, thank you. Christina Roberson on behalf of the City Attorney's Office. Thank you for bringing up the documents. So today we are here to, I believe it was requested by the commissioners to have an item to review the current documents that are provided to both property owners and to the mobile home park rent stabilization committees.
Hold on. Oh, there it is. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties with the TV.
No problem. Oh, it's flashing for some reason, but I think it's working now. So staff today is prepared to go over the documents that are provided with the commission. And again, these are documents that are provided to both the park owners as well as the committees, the rent committees. And at the end of the review of the documents, staff will open it up to the commissioners to have a discussion and perhaps make any recommendations or any, if you have any thoughts on things that could be changed for the next round. Now, these documents while we wait for the documents to come up, I can give a little bit of background. These documents are sent out in November or December of each year, and they affect the rent applications for the following year. So the packet that we'll be looking at today was sent, I believe, December 11th of 2023, and it dictates the automatic rent increase amount as well as the procedures for any applications for rent increases that are submitted in 2024. So that packet, I believe you also have it in your in front of you. So hopefully, I think it might be working now, or not. I'm gonna just pause to see if we can get it to.
It does, to announce everyone, it is only flashing on our end, it is not flashing on the Zoom end.
Okay, well, I think that each of the commissioners has it in front of them, so we'll just look at those documents. So again, these packets are sent out at the in that time period every year for the following year's applications. The packets are only sent to parks and park committees that have a residence committee. So they are not sent to the parks that do not. For your information, I do have a list of the parks that have formed residence committees, and there are 20 of them. So that would be 20 out of the 27 parks in the city of Fresno. So looking at that first page, this again is the cover page. So this goes to both the owners and the committee, and it just describes basically what's included in the packet. It goes over the calculations for the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which we'll look at on the next page, and it goes over kind of just what needs to be submitted, how it's submitted, and so on. So that cover letter, again, any suggestions or changes, we can talk about that at the end, but that is just a letter sent from our office. The next page after the cover letter is the documentation for the CPI. So for some reason, when I printed it, mine didn't remain highlighted. But when it goes out, it has highlighted October 2023, and it has highlighted, if you look on the column on the left, West Size Class BC, because that is for cities of a population of 2.5 million and under. So that number for as of October 2023 was 3.2%. Again, that calculation is given on the front page. Pursuant to the ordinance, they're allowed to charge 0.75 of that number, which is 2.4 for the factor for 2024 applications. So that documentation is provided to justify the number that we give them. The next page in the packet is basically just a disclaimer, because it's something that we've noticed is that they'll send in their original copy and they won't keep a copy for themselves, and then they don't have a copy. So we just want to give them those instructions to help them realize that. And again, the forms are sent out as a courtesy from the city of Fresno. Obviously, if they lose the forms, they can get those forms from our office. The next page is the first actual rent increase application form. So this is Form 11, and this is a cover page that lists sort of a checklist of what items need to be returned as part of a complete rent increase application. Has all of the instructions, that tells the owner they have to send the application to the residence committee and to the city, and it has them sign under penalty of perjury that they've prepared the information to the best of their ability, that everything is true and correct. The next page is just, again, a short checklist of what they need to include when they return the packet. The next page is Form 1.1-2, and this you're pretty familiar with because we've seen it in both of the packets that we've done, or both of the rent increase application hearings that we've done, but it's really a summary of what increases they're requesting. So first at the top, we've got the automatic increase for the CPI, so they need to provide what the base rent, average rent is, and then they can do that calculation. B is the automatic pass-through of annual government costs, which we did see at the last hearing, and they need to list the amounts and what the dollar amount is that they're requesting per space. And then Section C at the bottom are the non-automatic rent increases. So pursuant to the ordinance, there are a number of factors. They need to select which factors that they are asking for the increase based on, and then obviously provide justification. And then at the bottom, the total requested rent increase amount per space if you combine everything. The next page is a helpful guide for the next form. The next form is 1-3, which is the rent increase information. And so this tells them exactly what each of the columns mean so that it's an easy resource for them to fill out the form. So if you look at the next page, this is actually Form 1-3. And we saw this in the last hearing as well, the last couple hearings, they need to fill out for every space all of this information. So is it a mobile home or a recreational vehicle? When was the occupancy date? What was the rent on January 1st? So on and so forth down the line. Fill out all of this information and then also select which rent increases they are selecting for those spaces. And again, they're supposed to do that for every space. So I know it's a lot of work when you've got these large parks that have a lot of spaces, but that is required as part of the rent increase application. And then the next form is Form 2-1. So if you think about it, the forms that are numbered with 1s, those are the forms for the owner to fill out. The forms starting with 2s are now for the rent committees. So this next form is a resident voting results on non-automatic increase form. So this form says basically what the vote was for the residents committee. So after the owner submits the application, now it goes to the committee and the committee will have their meeting and they'll take their vote, and then this form gets sent back to the owner. So the instructions are on there for that, and it number of residents voting in favor, against, etc. The next page is Form 2-2, which is another form. Basically, this one's related to the automatic CPI rent increase request, and this is just a form, again, that the residents committee would fill out based upon that increase request. And then the next form is Form 3-1, which is at the end of all of that process when they've gotten through kind of the back and forth between the owner and the residents. This is the request for commission proceedings. So this is the one that is either the owner is usually the one who's going to be filling this out, and so that would be the first box selected there, and that would be them asking for the hearing in front of you all. So that's what this form is for. And then the next page that is sent out is the calendar that you're all familiar with. You approved it in the January meeting, where it shows the month that each park is to submit their applications. So that lists all of them. And then the final form, it looks like, yes, the final form that goes to the owner is just a form that staff has put together to try to help make the process make sense, streamline it a little bit. It's sort of a flow chart. You could kind of start, it basically goes over everything we just talked about through the form. So at the top, city mails out application packages in December. Owner submits the application. The residence chair receives, reviews, and responds. And then it sort of breaks it down whether there's an objection or no objection, and finally either to get to the rent increase being effective or to get to possibly a commission. So that's that flow chart to just sort of help streamline the process. Moving to the second group of documents, yeah. And then I think if you exit full screen. There we go. So as I've mentioned, that whole packet that I just went over goes to the committee, but the committee gets a few additional documents. The first is the cover letter as well that again goes over the CPI and basically tells them that there's some information, an information sheet that they need to submit in order to make sure that all the contact information is current, but for both the city and the owner. And then also there is as you may have heard, there's a Mobile Home Ordinance Protection Society, or MOPS, which is a volunteer organization. The city cannot provide them information necessarily, but there is basically an informational statement in here that if the rent committees want to reach out to MOPS, they are permitted to do so. So the MOPS contact information is provided. The next form, which is 4-1, is, as I mentioned, the contact form. This is just basically contact information for the committee. And then the very last page in the packet is that MOPS contact information. So, again, as of right now, that's the information that the city is providing. Just to kind of recap again, if there are any recommendations or suggestions that the commission has, we can obviously make those changes. They would go out in the next round, which would be towards the end of the year. Another option that the commission has is to direct staff to look into actual ordinance changes. That is a longer process, which is why it's good to get the conversation started now, because that would have to go in front of the Fresno City Council at a council meeting, and it takes, there's a process for that. So we just wanted to bring that to your attention as well as a possibility. One suggestion is that if you all have a discussion, if there's any suggestions you have, then at the next meeting, staff can bring back proposed changes to present to the commission. And as another comment, those changes can either be presented at the April meeting, or if it's the will of the commission, we could wait and present those changes the next time there is an appeal, just so that you're not having to come back just for that. So however the commission wants to handle that, but those were just our thoughts. And I'll turn it over to you.
Commissioner, any comments, questions?
Just a quick question. So the one sheet with all the lists of the mobile home parks, so the ones that are highlighted are the ones that don't have rent committees.
Let me see.
I think that's what when I printed it out.
I think
There's 7.
I think that the ones that are highlighted are the ones that at the time of the January meeting, before the January meeting, they actually didn't have months selected.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
during the January meeting, you selected, or you approved those 9 or those 7 to have those months.
Okay.
But those parks, I'm fairly confident, all have committees, and then the ones that don't have committees are not listed on this list.
Oh, gotcha,
If another park were to form a committee, we would have to add it to the list and bring it back for approval for the calendar.
Oh, okay. So if they're not on there, they don't have a committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a couple questions. Put my glasses back on so I can read it. So my first question is about so let me just kind of preface this question with, when we received large amounts of documentation in the packets, it requires us to go through a considerable amount of information.
Right.
And so really, this is not sort of my I don't know. I don't have a skill for that. There's a lot of information so what I was trying to understand is, and there was a difference between our first commission meeting and the second hearing in terms of like the information that was provided. So I'm trying to better understand how I can, when this packet is sent to us as a commission, how do we take the information and look for what we need to look for so we could provide judgment based on what we're receiving. So that's to preface that. And so I'm trying to now look at what the applicants get. Okay, I assume is it a PDF they print it out and they write it in, or is it a worksheet? Is it a spreadsheet? What is it? What is the format of it?
This is actually mailed.
It's
so
mailed.
This is mailed to the owners. I am actually not 100% sure. I'm sure we have electronic versions. I'm not sure if they contact I'm sure if they contacted our office, we could give them electronic versions, or they can, kind of scan a PDF and make it fillable kind of a thing. I'm sure that they have that ability. But yes, it is actually physically mailed.
So I think the first thing I would be ideal, and I don't know what, I know there's precedent because I've worked with the state housing department, and when you're going through large amounts of applications and information packets, the state, for instance, will provide a spreadsheet or a worksheet that can be filled out, and they can essentially self-guide themselves across it. And when it comes up to something that doesn't actually, where it says, you can't move further because this is not, I feel like we could help. It's about setting expectations for anyone applying, and so that when they come into this, and we don't want them to go and spend their time finding out that, well, you probably are not going to even be eligible for this particular increase. So I'm trying to think through. I know this is a long-term thought,
Right.
but I'm thinking, is there a way for us to look at implementing some sort of worksheet so they can self-guide, and it can start and stop when they realize that they are not eligible, or they're only eligible for this, and sort of, it's essentially your tree that you have here, a decision tree, but in a worksheet form, so that way, again, those that are applying can
Right.
are not feeling deflated or a waste of their time.
Right, and I think that where this is going to come in a lot is for the non-automatic increases, and that is, it's tricky just because there are so many different factors that are in the ordinance, and so I think that what you've seen in the past is that owners are sort of throwing in anything that they think might be relevant, and it makes the packets very, very long. We tried in the application to say the application is not complete unless contextualized supporting documentation for each factor is attached. But I think that that is one of the reasons why the applications become a little bit cumbersome. We could definitely provide this electronically, and we could even add in here, if you would like an electronic copy, please contact our office. So because we don't have email addresses for all of them, but we could definitely make that part of the process. I think that the problem is going to be those non-automatic rent increases,
Right.
because they can be a little bit more vague.
Right.
I think, Commissioner, if I can, one, I kind of want to set the La Hacienda one to the side, because I think a lot of that confusion was related to the money they did or didn't get from the city and trying to claim that again and that part. But I agree, like, the volume of documents can be overwhelming. And so actually what I was thinking, looking at the non-automatic rent increases, is I would actually like to add another spreadsheet into the packet that would need to basically create a cover sheet to all of the backup documents that list which letter of the non-automatic rent increase they're attributing to, the title of the document within the packet, the page number within the packet, and why it's relevant to, not a paragraph, but a sentence or 5 words of why is this relevant to this. Is it a capital improvement that improved X, Y, and Z, or what part of it? Because one of the things that I saw was like a lot of the food receipts or travel receipts, and that didn't feel to me like it was the park's burden that the ownership lived out of town, and that was increasing their cost of operating. So I think that would also put the owner, the work back on the owner to at least have a justification that they'll put in writing to why it's relevant, and not just throw all the spaghetti against the wall and see what will stick.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We can come up with some type of a form for that.
So also too, can we have these owners maybe double and triple check their applications? Because I know there was a lot of duplicate pages, and it's just like, okay, you put in like 50 of the same page. Maybe there'd be a little something where you can tell them, hey, look, you need to go over this, make sure there's nothing duplicate in there. Because if there is duplicates or anything like that, then, you can, the staff or the commission can just like disregard those.
Okay.
Because I think that's what makes the package
And I think
so
having
big.
that cover sheet would help with that,
Yeah.
right? Because
Just-
they're having to go through and say, page 1 is this document, and this is why it's in
Yeah,
here. And
because it's
the
just-
7th time you write, this is my receipt for dinner that night, you're
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, I feel like I've already done this.
Exactly. I mean, it just felt like it was just so many
Yeah.
repeat things, and it was like, okay, yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah, no, definitely. We can definitely do that.
The only comment that I have is that I'd like to eventually suggest to to the staff at the city that we should digitize. I mean, we're in an evolved system, and we don't want to be prehistoric in the next 10 years where everything is still paper, you know what I mean? Because the way this technology is moving, if you go to the big cities like Los Angeles, San Jose, let's take San Jose, for example, they're pretty much digitized. It's beautiful when you go through their website. Just click A here, B, and you're there, you know? And these documents definitely can be done on editable PDF formats.
Right. Yeah, and
So,
yes.
so I think maybe recommend to city council, maybe the hire a dedicated staff temporarily just to come up with the package and just provide that. And that, we could be a pilot program for all the commissions, you know.
Yeah.
And because really, first of all, how much paper are we going to save? You know, the city's going to save photocopying and all that stuff. You know, it can be done digitally, by the digital submissions. So that would be my only recommendation, and everything else, I had another question, but it's just, I hit a blank. That's okay, I'll probably think of it next meeting or so, if we're still talking about this. But yeah, that would be my recommendation, that would really digitize as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we do have it all in that format. So what we can do, I think the best way to handle that, at least for the next round, might be to say, still send them mail because that's what they're used to, but maybe moving forward, we're going to request your email contact information or something, and then start doing it in a more digital way.
You have to have the email, the contact information electronically.
Right.
No excuse, otherwise they're gonna have to come to the city. Not us mailing it to them, but they're gonna have to come to the city and pick up the package.
Yeah, or we,
It's total ballpark on their end, you know, because everyone nowadays has, you know, basically most of these owners have attorneys anyway, and every attorney has an email.
right. I think one of the reasons that mail has been used just is because we look up the current ownership, and we don't always have, like, the county records don't have an email. So we want to make sure that we're getting it to the right owner, especially if they've maybe sold it in the last year. We're always checking that. But I think that's a great idea, and that's something that we need to move towards.
Suggestion to piggyback to what you were saying, why don't we train these folks? Why don't we have like once a month, once every 6 months training for owners and resident committees to come to one of these conference room, and we train them, you know, on the forms to avoid all duplicate forms and all those things, and they could be trained on how to fill out the forms and everything. Because let's face it, most of these owners really don't know what they're doing, really, especially if they bought a mobile home park for the first time.
Right. That's a great idea.
So I think at some sort of training, the city could provide training to them, you know, and for both resident committees and the owners.
Okay,
That would be a recommendation too.
that's a great idea. Thank
Or
you.
at least some kind of help for them if they have questions while they're filling out the application. Maybe there's I don't know if there's already a phone number they can call or somebody they can talk to about that, you know, just about, you know, well, okay, I'm confused on this page, what do I have to put in here? What don't I have to put?
There is a number on the letter, but I do think that is possible. But I think a training as well would be very helpful.
Ideally, a recorded training.
There you go.
Yeah, and then we just send it out. Yes, that makes sense.
Any other suggestions, questions?
My only other suggestion would be to next review this if there is an appeal or no later than September, so that it can be finalized and utilized in the next round that goes out for the following year. So if there aren't appeals between now and September, we don't have to meet, but to come back no later than September to approve that.
That makes sense to me. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. Well, we will work on these suggestions and add it to the next meeting where there is an appeal, or have a meeting in September.
Very well then, so moving on, we go to informational report. Staff, do we have any informational reports?
No, I do not.
Okay. Reports by commissioners? None? Continuing matters, do we have any continuing matters?
No.
And then we don't have any on schedule oral communications, correct? Do we?
You should make the announcement, just in case someone.
It's online.
Yeah.
Brenda, can you unmute?
Hello.
Can you hear her?
We can hear from the people that it's online. We can hear you. We haven't been able to hear anything so far.
Can't hear people online.
Just wanted to double check if the audio is working.
I am aware somebody was watching and listening and they were able to hear, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Can we chat to her if she had a question other than just not being able to hear?
So strange.
Before we have a seizure looking at the screen.
Brenda, would you like to comment on anything besides regarding the mobile home? Now I'm concerned she might not be able to hear me. I'm giving her a full lot at 3 minutes, so, because we were able to hear her.
Is that us technically faulting, or is it their connection, the participants?
I am not sure. I've just been made aware that on YouTube, the audio has been fine. So, and also, just as a comment for anybody who hopefully can hear me, apparently the video on demand will be available immediately on YouTube. So, anybody can review the meeting, I believe, immediately after.
And another comment, the video will also be, the Grand X video will also be available tomorrow on the city clerk's website.
And I'd like to extend an invitation to the ones that are not able to connect with us for technical difficulties to come back next meeting, because there's also going to be an opportunity to speak about any matter concerning the commission.
So just to clarify on the record, what we're saying here is that we do not believe the technical difficulties are on our end. It is on the end of the person who wishes to speak. So that is why we are proceeding to move forward with the meeting without these additional comments. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Thank you for that clarification.
The time is up. Cool.
So let me go ahead and call for an adjournment. And I think we are set to go, and I call for adjourn this meeting at 6:37 p.m.
37?
37
Okay,
p.m.
6:37, the meeting has been adjourned.
Thank you.